Okay, this is ratio number 1 homework. Make sure your name's on your paper. Number 1 says there are 8 boys and 3 girls from 6th grade in the marching band. Write 2 different but equal ratios that compare the number of boys and the number of girls. So just like we did in class, we're going to use words to show what we're putting in our ratio. So we're going to compare boys to girls. So they told us there's 8 boys and 3 girls. So we need to make an equivalent ratio. So something that we did in class is if we multiplied the numerator by something, we had to make sure we multiplied the denominator by the same thing. So 8 times 2 would be 16, 3 times 2 would be 6. So 8/3 is equivalent to 16 over 6. And if you want to change yours, you can multiply by whatever number you want as long as you do it to the numerator and the denominator. Number 2, there's 18 boys and 7 girls in the school jazz band. Write a ratio of the number of girls in the jazz band to the total number of students in the jazz band. So again, make sure you use words to describe your ratio. So they want the number of girls to the total number. I'm going to let you guys set up that ratio, the number of girls to the total. All right, take a look at number 3. Students in a 6th grade class will be participating in a school field day. They need to decide on a shirt color. The table below shows the results of their vote. So yellow, green, and blue are the colors that they voted on, and here's how many votes each one got. So we need to determine whether the following statement's true or false. If it's false, we have to make a correction to make it true. So the statement says the ratio of total votes to votes for green is 29 to 17. So if this is total votes and this is green, let's go up here. So in order to get the total, we're going to need to add all of these together. So we're going to have to do, I'm going to line mine up, 17, 7, and 5. 7 and 7 is 14, plus 5 is 19, carry the 1. So the total should have been 29, and the number of green votes was 17. So if I compare what I got to what they got, I would say that that's true. They are both the same thing, total to green. All right, so I'm going to flip it over. What's the ratio of width of the plane surface to its perimeter? Okay, so we want the ratio of the width to the perimeter. Okay, so first of all, we've got width. We'll call this the width, and we'll call this the length. So the width would be 13. The perimeter is when we add up all the sides. So since we have a rectangle, I know that the opposite side is 24, and this side is 13. So I'm going to let you guys figure out what would the perimeter of that shape be, knowing that perimeter means you have to add all the sides. All right, take a look at number 5. Which ratio is not equivalent to 36 over 42? Well, I'm going to write it as a fraction, 36 over 42. And I'm going to do what we did in class. I'm going to reduce that fraction. So I'm going to divide by 6 on the top and the bottom, and I'm going to get 6/7. So now I'm going to compare 6/7 to each of these. 6 over 7 or 6 to 7, you can write it either way. So if I'm trying to go from 6 to 18, I would have to multiply by 3. So I have to, does that same rule work here? Would I multiply by 3 and get 21? So yes, in this case, that rule works, so that is equivalent. So now I'm going to do the same thing for 12/14. To go from 6 to 12, I'd have to multiply by 2. Does 7 times 2 get me 14? And yes, it does. So that's equivalent. All right, let's try this one. 6 times 3 is 18. So is 7 times 3 24? No, that one does not work. So that's not equivalent. So now we're going to check the last one. 6 to 7. 6 times 5 is what gets me to 30. So 7 times 5, does that give me 35? And yes, it does. So it's just this one that's not equivalent. Okay, so you guys are going to do the same thing for number 6. I would suggest you take the 24/28 and you reduce it. I'm going to reduce by 4. And I'm going to get 6/7. It turned out to be that again. And then you guys need to compare. So I would put the 6/7 under each one, and I would say, well, to go from 6 to 48, I'd have to multiply by 8. So does that work if I do 7 times 8? Does that give me 64? And remember, we're looking for which ones are not equivalent. So make sure you check each one.